Hello students, today we will do the last section of Supreme Court, that is functions of the Supreme Court. What are the functions of the Supreme Court? The main function of the Supreme Court is to settle disputes, then to enforce fundamental rights and to give judicial reviews. Okay, the Supreme Court is also a court of record and it has its own administrative and supervisory functions. So today in this class we are going to discuss about all these points and also about the important writs. Like in the last class I was telling you about the habeas corpus. So there are another 4 more writs. So in all there are 5 writs that we are going to discuss in today's chapter. Now coming to settlement of disputes. Original. What are your original settlements? What is an original dispute? The original dispute is directly taken to the Supreme Court. It will neither be fought in the lower courts nor in the high courts, straight away in the Supreme Court. Such cases which come straight away to the Supreme Court are called as original jurisdiction. The Supreme Court has the original jurisdiction to settle disputes between central government and one or more states of India and the union territories, as well as between different states and union territories. Besides, it has original jurisdiction with regard to enforcement of fundamental rights, transfer of cases from high courts and interpretation of the constitution. So apart from disputes between the central government and state governments, or state government versus union territories, besides these, the Supreme Court has original jurisdiction with regard of the enforcement of fundamental rights, the basic rights that we people have, a basic rights, the human rights that from the time that we are born to be free, we are born to speak out our thoughts, we are born to follow our own religion. So if any of our fundamental rights are infringed, it can be directly taken to the Supreme Court. Okay, and the Supreme Court is the highest authority to interpret the law. What is the law trying to say? What is the law? What does the law wants to enforce? Things can be taken in a different way. This wall is white. This wall is not white. Suppose if somebody says this wall is not white, so this wall can be any other color than white. Now what color the wall is? Either it is grey, either it is peach, either it is off-white, either it is yellow. So similarly, there are certain laws which the Supreme Court interprets, and that interpretation becomes an example for all the other courts in the country to follow. Original jurisdiction, we have finished original jurisdiction. Then on appeals, the Supreme Court deals with appeals which are made to it in respect of its original jurisdiction. It gives its verdict on the interpretation of the Constitution. It also settles interstate or union state disputes. Using its appellate jurisdiction, it hears appeals involving interpretation of the Constitution on civil and criminal cases where special point of law is involved. And third, appeal by special leave. So the Supreme Court deals with all the appeals which are made to it in respect of its original jurisdiction. Whichever appeal comes, a person may appeal to the court to kindly interfere in the matter that their fundamental rights are being infringed upon. So we have made an appeal to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court will solve our problem, will listen to our arguments and give its proper judgment. So it gives its verdict on the interpretation of the Constitution, how the Constitution has been framed, what is the true meaning of the Constitution, that particular article of the Constitution. Okay. Then the second point is that it uses its appellate jurisdiction. It hears appeals involving interpretation of the Constitution on civil and criminal cases. And the third is appeal by special leave. There are certain appeals which come to the Supreme Court regarding some special leave. Maybe the High Court has not permitted them, has not given them the right to appeal to the Supreme Court, but they make a special appeal to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has the authority to listen to such appeals. Now, what is this appeal by special leave? This needs to be discussed in detail. Under Article 136 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court can allow leave to appeal against the judgment of any court of India. It is a special power which is to be exercised only under exceptional circumstances. The Supreme Court has laid down the principles according to which this power shall be used. So, in civil cases, the special leave to appeal would not be granted unless there is a question of law or general public interest involved in the case. Okay. So, civil cases means between people and people. There's no government involved in it. Neither the state government is involved, neither the union territories are involved, neither the central government is involved. The case is between two private parties, private party number A versus private party number Z. These two private parties. So in such cases, generally the Supreme Court does not entertain any appeals unless and until there is a gross involvement of the law which affects the general public. Because whatever verdict the High Court would give, that verdict becomes an example to be followed for the lower court to be followed. So if the High Court has given some judgment which might affect the general public, in such cases, in such civil cases, the Supreme Court will give special leave to appeal to it regarding the matter concerned. In criminal cases, the Supreme Court interferes when it is shown that exceptional and special circumstances exist and grave injustice has been done. In criminal cases, if, for example, now the case of Riya Chakraborty is going on, right? Riya Chakraborty and Sushant Singh, okay, SSR, Sushant Singh Rathod, Sushant Singh Rathod. Now, if suppose the High Court punishes Riya Singh on the basis of pressure that is being created by the media, that she is the one who is involved, whether she is or not, we do not know. The media has created a hype around her. It has created an atmosphere where Sushant Singh, she was her friend, and she has been accused of providing him with intoxicants, with drugs. Now, providing him with drugs is another thing, and being involved in the murder is another thing. So far, nothing has been proven that she has taken part in the murder of Sushant Singh. It has not been proved that Sushant Singh has been murdered. But suppose the High Court, on pressure by the press and expectation of the people, because there is such a hype about this case, that in case the judge gets carried away by the media and punishes Riya Chakraborty, she has the right to appeal to the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court feels that injustice has been meted out to Riya, she can appeal to the Supreme Court. So such are the criminal cases where the Supreme Court allows appeals. then the Supreme Court could quash the decision of a tribunal when the tribunal has exceeded its jurisdiction and adopted a procedure which runs against the established rules of natural justice. Every court has been given certain powers, the subordinate courts, the lower courts. Sometimes the lower court exceeds the jurisdiction and gives punishment which is not in the authority of the lower court. In such cases, the Supreme Court can squash or make it null and void. The judgment passed by the lower court can be declared as null, can be declared as null and void. That is the authority to the Supreme Court. So these are the special leave, appeal by special leave, okay, in civil cases and in criminal cases. Now, how does the Supreme Court enforce the fundamental rights? See, the court is actually made for the protection of the people. Maybe against the people, by people, against people and government. Any citizen whose right are violated may move the Supreme Court for the enforcement of their rights. The Supreme Court has power to issue orders or writs in the nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, and certiorari for the enforcement of any of the fundamental rights. These rights we will discuss in detail after a little while. So the Supreme Court has the power to issue orders. It has the powers to give writs in whichever nature it may be, in the nature of habeas corpus, in the nature of mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, and certiorari, just to enforce that any of the fundamental rights are not infringed upon. The Constitution prohibits the state from making any law which takes away or abridges the fundamental rights. If it does so, the law shall be declared null and void by the Supreme Court. So, any other lower court, if they take away the right of the individual has the authority, has the right, has the freedom to approach the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court can see that the punishment or the injustice done to that individual is rectified, is corrected. Now we are talking about the writs. So what is habeas corpus? What do you mean by habeas corpus? These are all actually Latin terms. So habeas corpus in Latin means to have the body. By issuing such a writ, the High Court or the Supreme Court can get the body of any person released if it has been unlawfully detained by any person or a group of persons or by the state. The writ is thus a great safeguard for the personal freedom of a citizen. Now, the Hisar case that we see in social media, the social media is showing that what's happening in Hisar. One of the Dalit families is under tremendous pressure by the state government. The state government, because of some influential person, has committed a crime. A person who is very close to the authority has committed a crime which is trying to be put under the blanket. So what the police Hisar had done, they had created a barricade around that victim's family's house. Nobody was allowed to go and meet that person. Neither press, no media, no politicians, nobody. No social workers, none of them were allowed to go and meet that person. So Then later on they were allowed to meet. Why? Because somebody had filed a case in the Allahabad High Court for habeas corpus, means to get the body released, to get the persons who were put under house arrest. Everybody was put under house arrest. Nobody was allowed to go out and meet the people. When one small 10-year-old boy, 10 or 12-year-old boy, he somehow managed to escape from that house and went and reported this matter to the press, that the people want to meet the press, but the police is not allowing them to meet. So any authority who unlawfully enforces you to stay at home or puts you into some sort of a confinement, any other person on your behalf can approach the Supreme Court. This is known as to have the body, or this is known as habeas corpus. Habeas corpus means to have the body. By issuing such a writ, the High Court or the Supreme Court can get the body of the person released if it has been unlawfully detained by any person or a group of persons or by the state. This writ is thus a great safeguard for the personal freedom of a citizen. The second writ is mandamus. In Latin, it means we order. It is a command or an order from a superior court to a lower court or an administrative authority to perform certain duty. So mandamus is a clear-cut order. The Supreme Court gives an order to the lower court. Even the High Court has its authority, but we are talking about the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has the authority to ask the lower court to do certain things, to take action. The Supreme Court can direct the police force to take action against an illegal construction in your locality. Suppose somebody has constructed a building illegally on a public land, on a green park, and there they are starting their own club and they are not allowing others to enter there. When it is noticed by the media, the media brings it out into the open public view. When the Supreme Court takes notice of it, the Supreme Court can issue an order to the local police to take action against that club that is running illegally in your locality. The third writ is writ of prohibition. The writ of prohibition is an order issued by a superior court to a lower court to stop proceedings in a case which might be in excess of the jurisdiction of the lower court. So again here this is a writ of prohibition, means it prohibits the lower court to take cases which are beyond its jurisdiction. If a lower court is dealing with matter of grave consequences which can affect the society as a whole, the Supreme Court passes an order to the lower court to stop that proceeding and immediately transfer the case either to the High Court or to the Supreme Court. Such a writ is known as writ of prohibition. The writ of prohibition prohibits the lower court in dealing matters which are beyond its jurisdiction. Then writ of certiorari. Certiorari. The writ is issued by a superior court to a judicial authority desiring to be informed of what is going on. See, difference between writ of prohibition and writ of certiorari. The writ of certiorari demands कि क्या चल रहा है भाई, हो क्या रहा है, हमको inform करो. Whereas the writ of prohibition puts a full stop to the proceeding in the lower court. Though it appears similar to the writ of prohibition, there is a difference. Writ of prohibition is issued when certain proceedings are going on, and writ of certiorari is issued after the order has already been passed by the lower court. Okay, so the writ of prohibition, when the case is going on, the Supreme Court transfers the case from the lower court to the higher authority. But in writ of certiorari, the writ asks the lower court after the lower court has passed its judgment कि ये क्या किया आपने, what have you done, ये उनका सवाल होता है. And the fifth writ is quo warranto. It means by what order? को वारंटो, किसके अधिकार से तुमने गवर्नर की कुर्सी हत्या लिया है? हाउ कम you occupy that seat when the government has not given you the authority to occupy that seat? Quo warranto means by what order. It is issued when a person has usurped any office. This writ thus prevents public officers from forcibly or wrongly holding a high public office. Okay, now I hope all the writs are clear to you. Now we will go to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. That what jurisdiction does the Supreme Court have? The Supreme Court can give advice to the Prime Minister and the law ministers of the country, the defense minister, Prime Minister, President. It can advise the government. The advisory jurisdiction. The Supreme Court has advisory jurisdiction to give its opinion on any question of law or fact of public importance as may be referred to it for consideration by the President. The Supreme Court may be required to express its opinion in two classes of matters in an advisory capacity. The first class involves any question of law may be referred to the Supreme Court if the President considers that the question is of public importance and it is necessary to obtain the opinion of the Supreme Court. Such opinion of the Supreme Court is advisory and not binding on the government, nor is it executable as a judgment of the Supreme Court. So when the President feels that certain matter has to be taken consideration or has to be referred to the Supreme Court for its opinion, the President may send a request to the Supreme Court to try to explain or try to bring out the facts regarding that matter. So the Supreme Court will only advise the President on that matter. Now whatever advice the President receives from the Supreme Court is not binding on him. ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं है कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला तो प्रेसिडेंट वो फॉलो करेगा. फॉलो करना नहीं करना ये प्रेसिडेंट के ऊपर है. Then the second case where Supreme Court can advise is dispute arising out of pre-constitutional treaties and agreements which are excluded from original jurisdiction by Article 131. Okay, so there are certain disputes which are very old, before the constitution was made, before the law was made. There are certain matters on which laws have not yet been made. So on this matter, the President might ask for advice from the Supreme Court. Like the matter of the Ram Janmabhoomi and Babri Masjid. Here the Supreme Court had advised the President. What advice is given, we will not discuss here. Then revisory jurisdiction. The Supreme Court under Article 137 is empowered to review any judgment or order made by it with a view to removing any mistake or error that might have crept in the judgment or order. This is because the Supreme Court is a court of record and its decisions are of evidentiary value and cannot be questioned in any other court. So the Supreme Court has the authority to revise a judgment. Maybe the High Court has given there's certain mistakes that has crept up into the jurisdiction, crept up into the judgment or crept up into the order that the High Court or the subordinate courts might have given. The Supreme Court can make corrections in the judgment of the High Court. Such corrections cannot be corrected further on. There is no higher court than the Supreme Court. Only in the case of where death can be converted into life imprisonment, it is the president who has the authority to forgive a criminal of its death penalty. Judicial review. The Supreme Court is the interpreter of the Constitution and its decision is final. It has the power to review laws passed by the union or state. Now, judicial review means what? The Supreme Court will go through the orders passed by the central government or the state government of a concerned state. Because these ministers may not be qualified lawmakers, they are appointed as lawmakers because of because of being very famous, because of winning the votes of the public. A law is made where? At the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. When a bill is passed in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, it becomes a law. So here the Supreme Court can review the laws made by the Parliament, whether the laws are viable or not, whether it is applicable or not. The Supreme Court has the authority to review such bills that are made in the Parliament. The Supreme Court is the interpreter of the Constitution and its decision is final. It has the power to review laws passed by the union or state legislatures. The Supreme Court can declare a law ultra vires or null and void if it is against the letter and spirit of the Constitution or contravenes any provision on the Constitution. This power is referred to as the power of judicial review. The minimum number of judges to hear and decide a case involving interpretation of the Constitution shall be 5. So, in case the central government, the state government has passed a law and it has to be reviewed, so there should be a bench of judges. So, the minimum number of judges who decide or who makes the judgment whether the law is lawful or not, sum up to 5 number of judges. At least minimum 5 number of judges will decide whether the law is lawful. The Supreme Court has the power to review all national and state laws and executive orders and declare them null and void. If they go against the provisions of the Constitution, for example, in 1970, the Supreme Court had declared a following Act of Parliament as null and void. So this has happened already in 1970. The Parliament had passed a law which the Supreme Court felt that it was against the Constitution of the country, against the framework of the Constitution. Okay. Presidential order concerning derecognition of the former princes. Okay. So in 1970, during Mrs. Indira Gandhi's time, the kings and princes were derecognized and the properties was taken away from them. It was confiscated. So the Supreme Court, because while Vallabhbhai Patel, he went to these princes, to these kings, and he appealed to them to join India on the condition that the property would be protected. Whatever territory they hold, that territory would be theirs and they would be given a revenue for the territories taken away from them by the government. But in 1970, these rights were taken away from the princes. So the Supreme Court came in favor of the princes and against the government. Banking Companies Act 1969 for the nationalization of 14 banks. Similarly, in August 1999, the Supreme Court held that merit should be the sole criterion for admission to postgraduate and other higher courses in medicine and engineering. Okay, now why is there a need for a judicial review? The Constitution has provided for a balance of power between the center and the state. If the union government or the state government go beyond the limit, the Supreme Court can settle the dispute. 1. In a written constitution, a law may be ambiguously worked. The question of interpretation of the Constitution is bound to arise, and the Supreme Court only has the power of original jurisdiction. So when the laws are framed, when the laws are written down, there can be certain meanings of certain words which only the Supreme Court can interpret in the correct way, or it has been given the authority to interpret the meaning of that particular word, phrase, or the law that is passed by the government. 2. The legislature may not possess the wisdom, experience, and impartiality which is needed to explain what the law means. So why the legislature has not been given this authority? Because they may be partial, they may favor a certain section of the society for their vote bank, or they may not be competent enough to interpret the law that has been made by them. So this function can be best performed by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is a court of record. A court of record is a court whose judgments are recorded for evidence and testimony for further cases. So whatever judgment the Supreme Court gives once, it becomes an example for the other courts to follow, and similar cases are judged on that pattern of judgment that the Supreme Court is given. The judgments are in the nature of precedents, that is the High Court, and other courts are bound to give a similar decision in a similar case they are not to be questioned when they are produced before any subordinate court. The Supreme Court shall be a court of record and shall have all the powers of such a court, including the power to punish for contempt of itself. The court of record has two implications. One, its judgments and orders are preserved as records, and these can be produced in any court as precedents. Okay? So the two implications, the first implication is that whatever judgment the Supreme Court has passed, it becomes an example for other courts to follow, for the lower courts to follow. It is a precedent. Precedent means an example. Second, if a person commits a contempt of court, the court has the authority to punish him. No authority can deprive the court of this right. If a person is not listening to the court, summons after summons have been given to that person to come and stand in the court as a witness, but after receiving summons he doesn't turn up. So the Supreme Court has the authority to punish him, because he is a vital link, he is a vital witness, and he is eluding, he is not supporting the court in giving the judgment. So even if this person is not a criminal, but he has not followed the orders and the instructions given by the Supreme Court has an authority to punish him. Truly, the Supreme Court acts as the guardian of the Constitution. Administrative and supervisory functions of the Supreme Court. Appointments of officers and staff of the Supreme Court are made by the Chief Justice of India or by such other judges as he may direct. The court makes rules regarding the conduct of advocates and other persons appearing before it. It also makes rules regarding the fees to be charged in respect of the proceedings of the court. The Supreme Court ruled that Chief Justice of India's recommendation to transfer judges of the High Court was not binding on the government. If the recommendation was made without consulting four most judges of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court simplified procedures in the area of public interest litigation, PIL, PIL, even by writing simple letter to the Supreme Court on a postcard, 25 paise postcard. This 25 paise postcard can be considered as a public interest litigation, or even if some article comes in the newspaper, it becomes a PIL. A person can register a case simply by writing on a postcard or application stating his complaint. These complaints are registered and necessary orders are passed. The grievances of women, children, bonded laborers, and other weaker sections of the society are given attention under this scheme. Okay. So, certain terms here, a judgment must be a decision pronounced by a court determining the rights of the parties in proceedings. Contempt of court means disrespect shown to the court or for the dignity of the authority of a court. Okay, such as bad behavior in court, refusing to answer a question as witness, interfering in the business of the court, speaking disrespectfully to the judges, or refusing to carry out an order. All this comes under contempt of court. Rule of law, supremacy of law, implying that no person can be made to suffer in body or goods except for a breach of law established in the ordinary court of land. Constitution grants wide powers to the High Court and the Supreme Court for preservation of the rules of the land. So I hope that you have understood this chapter. You can go through it again, and if you have any doubt, you can send me a message.